Hello and welcome back to Lulane Story Log, where we uncover the real stories behind the music.
It really is a peaceful night out there, isn't it? The way the mist is settling.
It is. It's the kind of night that just, invites you to drive.
To just keep going.
Yeah, until the map runs out. And that's kind of where our story starts tonight.
Yeah.
Imagine you're driving through just endless corn and bean fields in Ontario.
Just the hum of the engine.
And a single blinking dot on your GPS, leading you to this quiet little corner of a place called Wilkesport Line.
It sounds like a pilgrimage. And in this story, the artist, his wife, and their dog Luler, they're following that dot.
Right, to find what he calls a hidden miracle, a place named Green Hill Gardens.
And this wasn't just, some nicely landscaped park. This was 6 whole acres that used to be, well, a muddy swamp.
That transformation is what grabs you first. It wasn't a corporate project or anything. It was just a couple, Joy and Bill Robson.
Just 2 people.
2 people. And they spent a lifetime turning that mud into a paradise.
Yeah.
The source material uses this phrase I just love, sweat and grace.
Sweat and grace. That really says it all, doesn't it?
It does. The sheer human effort.
So when the artist and his family finally arrived, he describes walking across this little red Japanese bridge with a waterfall nearby.
And the sound of that water. It just washed away the noise of the world.
Exactly. It's that feeling of finding a sanctuary. He said it felt secret, safe, and sound.
But that feeling of safety.
Yeah.
That's where the story just it breaks your heart a little.
Yeah.
Because they left promising to come back when the lotuses were in full bloom.
Yeah.
But they never got the chance.
No, they didn't. We learned that Green Hill Gardens it's permanently closed.
And the reason is what's so frustrating. It's not just a lack of resources. It's something so much more human.
It is. You see, the family actually donated 100 acres of farmland specifically to fund the garden after Joy passed away.
So the intent was there. The financial backing was there.
But good intentions, they sometimes hit what the artist calls the cold wall of reality.
The careless hands.
The careless hands. Visitors were damaging the plants, trampling things. It's just this painful example of how we can love a beautiful thing to death.
So they had to lock the gates.
They had to.
Which brings us to, I think, the emotional core of the song that came out of this. Inside that garden, on a memorial stone for Joy, it read, "Vision, determination, and a love of the outdoors."
Vision and determination. Those are strong words. They show that creating that kind of peace, it actually requires grit.
Exactly. And that grit fuels a specific line in the song.
Yeah.
Still the world is beautiful, still the world is kind.
Which feels like a contradiction, right? After all the vandalism that shut the place down.
You wonder, is that just denial?
I don't think so. I think it's defiance.
Defiance. How so?
Well, it's easy to say the world is beautiful when you're standing on that bridge looking at the flowers. It's much harder and more meaningful to say it when you know the gates are locked. The artist argues that the roots are deep. The warmth that Joy and Bill put into that soil, it doesn't just vanish.
So even though the physical garden failed, the Garden of Joy and Bill it's preserved in the music.
Yes. The song becomes the sanctuary that careless hands can't damage. The lotuses might be sleeping behind a fence, but the music, it keeps the gate open for us.
A labor of love that outlasts the lock. Now, shall we go meet the song contained in this story? Please subscribe and like.
Past the beans and the corn where the GPS blinks. Past the muddy old swamp where the heavy heart sings. We followed the bend of a dusty road to a hidden miracle where the wildflowers grow. Still the world is beautiful, still the world is kind. In the sanctuary of the songs we find, though the gates are locked and the garden is still, still the world is beautiful. I believe it will. The lotus is asleep behind a fence of regret. The sun on the valley has started to set. Visions and dreams trampled into the dust by the careless hands that we couldn't trust. Still the world is beautiful, still the world is kind, in the sanctuary of the songs we find. Though the gates are locked and the garden is still, still the world is beautiful. I believe it will. The roots are deep, where the warmth remains, beyond the locks and the rusty chains. It's a quiet defiance, a light in the dark. The spirit of love is a living spark. Still the world is beautiful, still the world is kind, in the sanctuary of the songs we find. Though the gates are locked and the garden is still, still the world is beautiful. I believe it will.